Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Morning. Prime Minister Modi speaking for almost an hour and 15 minutes, and as was expected, as was predicted, Prime Minister Modi has laid out a very clear template of the road to 2019. Coming across as an individual who was supremely confident, an individual who perhaps knows that it's almost inevitable that India will choose him once again in 2019. What Narendra Modi did very cleverly and interestingly today is that he laid out a list of all the achievements, all the breaks from the past that his government has managed to achieve, along with some really lofty, ambitious targets. Two big ones that he's spoken about today. One, a commitment that was made earlier in the budget which was presented this year, Modi Care, insurance for all 10 crore families, which means 50 crore Indian citizens to benefit by insurance of 5 lakh rupees per family. And the other one, to reach out to the young and restless, urban, educated audiences of India, laying great emphasis on science and technology. Prime Minister Modi also saying that there will be Mission Gaganyaan before 2022, where an Indian citizen will go to space on a satellite which will be manufactured by an Indian citizen, hopefully in India. Lots to look forward to over those critical points which were made by Prime Minister Modi. We can say that this was an election map, an election agenda of sorts, perhaps making of the new manifesto for the BJP, or we can say that Prime Minister Modi has simply tried to present a report card. Either ways, without doubt, in his 5th Independence Day speech, Narendra Modi's self-confidence, his sense of being self-assured is absolutely unparalleled. Without doubt, he's India's Neta number 1. Without doubt, he's India's orator number 1. His political communications still by far ahead by a mile, many would say, in comparison to the opposition. And look at how he is now being welcomed by all the kids. And that's what really sets him apart. I can't remember Atal Bihari Vajpayee or Manmohan Singh ever doing anything like this. Narendra Modi never shies away from using any opportunity to try and give the sense that he belongs to the ordinary citizenry, simple people. And each frame that you see right now, each picture which is being captured right now will be shared by millions and millions of people across the globe, and it will all go down into the making of brand Narendra Modi that we've been seeing. Whether it was his emphasis on equality for women, or it was his commitment that he made towards the end, where he said from housing to power to cooking to water to toilet to skill to health to insurance to connectivity for all. Narendra Modi is dreaming of a new India in 2022, and he believes by completely dismantling the legacy of the UPA era, he believes that he is firmly on path to get to that new India. Will we get there? Will we not get there? Is this an electorally saleable occasion or not? Lots to talk about over the next 1 hour or so. Srima Talukdar, our senior editor from First Post, is there. Sumit Pandey, my colleague from News18.com, is here, and Major General Ashwini Siwaj is here with us in our studios as well. Sumit, let me just bring you in on this one. As we're looking at these pictures of Narendra Modi walking away and being welcomed by all these kids, an out-and-out political speech. What's the difference, if any, you spot between 2014 and now?
Well, I think 2014 and prior to that was a different template. You were the challenger, and now you'll be challenged in 2019. The opposition is going to ask you what you have delivered. So in that sense, quite unlike what people were expecting, Bhupen, that there could be some big announcements in this particular scheme. It is a very well calibrated scheme in the speech, rather, in the sense that he's trying to give a stock of the work that the government has done in the last 4 years. And in the process, I think the interesting thing was that the common refrain, if one were to have a word cloud today of Prime Minister's speech, the year 2013, I think, it must have appeared more than a dozen times. So that is the benchmark I think he's trying to create when he goes to 2019 to the electorate, to the people.
Right.
This was where we were, and this is where we are now in 2018-19. I think that could be the leitmotif of the campaign in the days ahead. That's what I could sense from that.
Let's just play some of the operative parts of Narendra Modi's speech. The speech which went on for 1 hour 15 minutes. The critical parts of Narendra Modi's speech first up. The first critical part, Prime Minister setting the agenda for 2019 battle, lists his achievements versus UPA's failure. What Sumit Pandey says, 2013 versus 2018. Big takeaway number 2, his tribute to India's armed forces. Invokes 2013 surgical strikes to highlight our braves' commitments to the nation and says that it was his government which ultimately also gave one rank, one pay and honored its commitment that had been made to the armed forces. Big headline number 3, a commitment that was made first up during the budget this year, Prime Minister's Ayushman Bharat scheme. This is really going to be the biggest game changer, I feel, if this scheme is really implemented. The Prime Minister has now set up a deadline of sorts. He says 25th September onwards, the insurance scheme will roll out, but serious questions remain in terms of where the money is really going to come from. Nari Shakti, the key focus of Prime Minister's Independence Day speech. Prime Minister has announced women officers of Short Services Commission to get permanent commission in the armed forces. And Mission Gaganyaan, that's the other part. Mission Gaganyaan declared by the Prime Minister, an Indian citizen with an Indian flag will be in space by the year 2022. So those are the key parts which were made by Narendra Modi. The truth being that Narendra Modi clearly has used this occasion in many ways to reach out to the citizens of India and to convince them that all the commitments that he had made in 2014, in fact, he's even gone back perhaps, all the commitments that he started to make during the election campaign for 2014, he believes that all those commitments are being ultimately fulfilled. So while we look at these live pictures, let me bring in Major General Ashwini Srivach as well. Look at the two commitments that have been made, sir, by the Prime Minister. One, the Women in Short Services Commission will now be treated at par with men and they will be granted permanent status. Give us an idea in terms of how many people will it really impact? How many women are we talking about here?
See, Bhupan, first of all, this is a very welcome step. What was happening as far as the women entry was concerned, that there was no scope for them to get a permanent commission. Unlike the male members, which after 14 years, they were given a choice whether they are supposed to go back or they can opt for a permanent commission. Obviously, if they opt for permanent commission, they should also meet the QR, the requirement. There is a board which takes place. That does not mean that everyone will be taken. This will be done by selection. But fact, they are now going to be given this, so they are eligible for that. Second thing is that what was happening is, see, there is a sport cadre and there is a regular cadre. The regular cadre were those who were permanent commission, and the sport cadre were one which was of short service commission. Aim was the sport cadre was helping the regular cadre to maintain the promotional aspect of them and keep the Indian Army young. What happened is that these men or women remain short service. At young service up to 35 years they serve it, and thereafter they wither away in the civil stream. Now, however, this was slightly unbalanced because men were getting permanent commission, say about 20% of those who have got selected from short service. 80% may be going or 60% may be going, but the women 100% were going. As on today, what will happen is they will also be eligible for permanent commission. So I can say roughly in every year it will be about 100-150 women which were otherwise going after 10 plus 4, 14 will now get permanent commission like a male officer.
Let's just stay with these pictures for a moment, because these pictures tell you a story. Prime Minister Modi there being welcomed by all the kids, and he's going out of his way to ensure that all the kids who've gathered there, all the people who've gathered there, they do get a good glimpse of him. Typically, on all these occasions, it becomes an opportunity for the people who gather there, for the viewers, for the audiences to try and click a selfie with the Prime Minister while the Prime Minister would be anywhere near their frame. And that's why as you see all these pictures of the kids making a beeline for the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister also going out of his way to pose with the kids, to shake hands with as many children as he possibly can. Do bear in mind that Prime Minister Modi is also an individual who decided to do away with the practice of using a bulletproof screen, which used to be in practice till the Manmohan Singh era, because Modi just thought that it was some kind of a block between him and the audiences. between the people who actually watch him. So while he's asking for everyone to maintain some decorum and some semblance of order, he's aware of the fact that the more these pictures get captured, the more these pictures get shared, the stronger the bond which seems to be getting built between him and the Indian citizens. And ultimately, that's what is making brand Modi. We can continue to have a longish debate on whether the claims which were being made by Prime Minister, are those claims being backed by facts? When he says that tractor sales are the highest, when he says that MSP, the minimum support price for farmers, has completely revolutionized the lives of Indian farmers, when he says that Mudra loans are changing the lives of rural citizens, all those points can be challenged without doubt. But what cannot be challenged is Narendra Modi's supreme ability to establish this direct connect with the masses, establish this direct connect with the people who are seeing him. Sanjay Jha of the Congress Party there as well. While we're looking at these pictures, and let's stay with these pictures, let's just get a sense from Sanjay Jha as well. Sanjay, how does the Congress look at the points which have been made by Narendra Modi today? Do you believe that this was old wine in new bottle? Many suggesting that this is nothing else but a repetition of what the Prime Minister has been saying over the last few years.
Bhupendra, firstly to you and to all the panelists and to the people of India, a very happy Independence Day.
Same to you. Happy
It's always a great day for us to look back and celebrate the hard work done by so many of our freedom fighters during the freedom struggle. And it's good to see that India has progressed over the decades at a very stratospheric level. And I want to keep my viewpoints on Mr. Modi's speech very concise. At the end of the day, Mr. Modi is a politician. I have always felt he's more a politician than a statesman, which a prime minister ought to be. I think the bottom line in public life is that you got to walk the talk. Now, unfortunately, at the end of 5 years, all I can say is that he's excellent with his hollow rhetoric. But end of day, people are going to ask only one question. 5 years have gone down, and how has my life changed materially? Whether it's economy, whether it's the social life, whether it's national security. End of day, am I happier today? Am I better off today? Am I having better faith in institutions and the establishment and the government? Am I feeling that the police is safer in terms of looking after my needs, or am I still terrified by the police? Am I living with my fraternity in peace and happiness? I think these are the fundamentals that define whether a citizen feels engaged with his country or not. And I look at things happening around me. I read the papers. You and I debate so often on CNN News 18. And there is a sense of what I call as monumental disappointment, because Mr. Modi came with a mandate that was never received by any political party since 1984. And I think this is a missed 5 years.
Missed 5 years.
He can use this forum to make his election report card, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But I think this is a missed 5 years. I mean, the BJP, I think, will look back in retrospect and say, we blew it.
Okay. So Sanjay Jha is giving us the Congress viewpoint that it's a case of missed opportunity. But Ajoy Bose, look at what the Prime Minister says. The Prime Minister, firstly, has now set a deadline, 25th of September onwards. The Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Abhiyan will start off. The insurance scheme for 10 crore families, a commitment which was made during the budget. He says 5 crore Indians have been pulled out of poverty. He says till 2013, 4 crore taxpayers were paying direct tax. Now that figure has almost doubled, gone up to roughly 7 crores. Why then should we say that this has been a case of missed opportunities, that we've simply blown it away? Have there really been institutional reforms, and is India really on the forward path, according to you, Ajoy?
Bhupen, it's a question of the glass being half empty or half full. And it would be quite silly to say that nothing has been done. But also, Mr. Modi has always overstated his point. And I think that, to some extent, is an advantage for him, but also is disadvantage. Because the main problem with an orator like Mr. Modi is that if he is telling the people of India that India is shining and that things are much, much better, than before, he will be held now. You see, it's no longer 2014. So people will actually say that have I really, am I leading a better life today as compared to 2013? So that is a judgment call by the people of India, which will be made in 2019. And that cannot be bypassed by any amount of rhetoric, because I think people are that way very, very practical and pragmatic. But that said, I think that a couple of points which you mentioned, like the health insurance scheme, which is indeed quite a radical scheme, and if implemented would be a great thing. Unfortunately, as we've discussed during the budgetary allocations, we found the fundamental question which is raised, that where do we get the money?
Where's the money coming from?
Show me the money, as they say. And I think that is the big problem, that there is no clear budgetary allocation for this insurance scheme. So in September, when we start this thing out, the immediate question comes to one's mind is that where do we get the money to start?
But you know what,
out?
Joy, I think Prime Minister Modi has played it beautifully.
Which will play out
I agree
over the next few months before the election.
I think what he's doing, I think what he's also doing is that he's blending ambition, a future vision, a hope of a better India, what he described to be a new India, with certainly challenges of the past. So when he says that, look, I've demolished all the power brokers in Delhi, he's partially right. There is no doubt about that. When he says that, look at where we were in 2013, the pace of reforms has grown. When he says that tractor sales have been the highest, the truth is that in comparison to 2015-16, there has indeed been a 22% increase as far as tractor sales is concerned. And then Prime Minister Modi talks about Gaganyaan. You know, Sachin Bhamba, I'm told CMD Space is going to be with us in a short while from now, because it's interesting. Srimoy, how does one look at this move which was made by the Prime Minister, where he says now by 2022 we're going to put up a man in space, an Indian citizen with an Indian tricolour? How does this fit in to the political narrative which was constructed today by the Prime Minister?
I think it does fit in very well. If you consider the entire structure of the Prime Minister's speech, I think that what the Prime Minister's Prime Minister was trying to do was very interesting. In 2014, he had a relatively easier job to do. He basically needed to say that, look, I am going to bring Achhe Din, so please vote me in. In 2019, he has a slightly more difficult job to do, because now he is the incumbent. So in order to sell that story of hope, which he did in 2014, it is going to be a little more difficult in 2019, because delivering on that promise of hope was his job, and now he has to give an account of whether he has been successful in his job or not. Which is why I thought there was constant comparison with 2013, because Modi wanted the people to, basically wanted to remind the people that, look, that was the benchmark which was there in 2013 when I came in, and this is what has happened now. So considering the number of changes that I have brought, banking on those changes, you can again renew the hope, you can again rekindle the hope that you had put in me in 2014, and I will take you forward. That was one message. The reference to the astronaut, I thought was a very interesting one. The major part of Modi's speech was focused around the steps that he has taken to ameliorate rural distress, to improve agricultural produce and income, and how he has delivered to the last man on the line. But he also made a conscious effort this time to appeal to the aspirational urban middle class and sell a story of optimism and resurgent India. And that is where that astronaut comes in. You know, astronomy is considered to be one of the elite areas where a nation can aspire after it has sort of performed its basic functions. So what essentially Modi is saying that, look, now that I have laid the groundwork of a strong India, now I am going to take you ahead and even further into space. So that ties out entirely with his speech, which is basically aspirational. And
but I wonder whether in 2013 and 14, Narendra Modi could bash Manmohan Singh and bash UPA government and say that this was, you know, the most corrupt government, and therefore you have this hope and ambition of looking at it completely differently from the new prism which he wanted to create. I wonder whether sending a man to space can give you the kind of political dividends which he may have got in 2014. But just want to go to Sachin Bhamba, who's live now, Chief Managing Director from Space. Mr. Bhamba, thank you so much. Happy Independence Day to you, sir. How does this How does this play out? How does this play out? When Prime Minister Modi says that we'll put a man in space, an Indian citizen will go there. Is there some, I was told Google, for instance, over the last few years has been running this campaign. There is this competition. It was a global competition, a worldwide competition where 2-3 companies, I think from India, had actually qualified to make it to the last round. And the game was that they had to send a satellite which they would have made on their own with partial support from the government. Is this a part of that, or is this a completely different story that we're talking about?
No, I think it's first of all, happy Independence Day to everyone. You know, it's a wonderful sort of a shock for me to listen that, you know, suddenly it has been announced. I remember, you know, when John F. Kennedy suddenly announced that he is going to send a human to space after so much, you know, having a Cold War with Russia. I think, you know, it's a...
We'll just try and reconnect there. Unfortunately, we talk about going to space, but sometimes basic technology can get the better of us. But be that as it may, Rajiv Pandey is there as well. Rajiv ji, the sense one gets is that the Prime Minister wants India to know where was India in 2013. Now, 2013 to 2018, 4 years of Modi Sarkar, I'm already seeing on Twitter, many people are raising this question. Demonetization, not mentioned even once. GST spoken about almost in a passing reference. Is there a fear that maybe the economic dividends which the BJP government wants to talk about, maybe those economic dividends aren't giving you the kind of political returns that you're looking for?
First of all, I would like to wish happy Independence Day to all. Before I come to your question, as you have asked that whether sending a person from India to space, whether it has political dividend or not. Prime Minister Modi ji has few days back in interview has said that I do not do everything for politics. So please keep these things, the developmental issue, out of politics. Now you have asked 2 questions to me that it was not for demonetization as well as GST. You see that demonetization and GST impact is already there, and whatever the government wanted, whatever the government tried to commit was committing for the reforms, that is already done. Now he has to look forward. What I am trying to say politically, today with figures, he has talked about everything, whether it is Ujjwala Yojana, electricity, Ayushman Bharat, Mudra loan. People of this country have heard him 1 hour 15 minutes. So let people decide whatever he has said, that is with full facts or not. On the Independence Day, the Congress spokesperson is saying these are hollow things and all. I am saying it is for the people of this country to decide whatever Honorable Prime Minister from Lal Killa has said, whether it is backed by the facts or not. Congress is in the habit, you have lost everything. People have thrown you into the dustbin. First you try to come out in the opposition space. The way you are talking, you are saying can a Prime Minister who is giving a speech on Independence Day, can you say these are all hollow things? What is this? Let us not make today is a very auspicious day for India.
It is a great day for India. It is a great day for India, but one would just like to know that this narrative, this template which is being set, is this template being based on facts? Sanjay Jha has a rebuttal. Yes, Sanjay, go ahead.
No, only one line.
Yeah,
I am saying, Bhupendra
you know, Bhupendra, the truth is, Mr. Pandey, जरा दूसरों को भी सुना कीजिए.
No, I'm not deciding.
सहनशीलता दिखाइए, दूसरों को भी सुनिए.
Complete. Just 1 second.
What is a
Bhupendra ji,
tell me.
आप अपने 5-star
और AC रूम में बैठ करके डिसीजन नहीं लेंगे कि जो मोदी जी ने कहा है वो सही है कि नहीं.
अच्छा, ठीक है.
देश की जनता सुन रही है.
ऐसा है ना पांडे जी, आपके साथ पांडे जी दिक्कत ये है. पांडे जी प्रॉब्लम यही है. May I say this, Pandey ji? You know, I mean, you can say what you want to say about me or whoever, but the truth is this, Mr. Pandey, I'm not trying to set the template here, but I'm fully entitled to raise questions about whether a statement which has been made, is it being backed by facts or not, whether it is you or any other leader from the BJP. Sanjay Jha, you have a rebuttal.
Bhupendra, I will just take one example from Mr. Modi's speech to puncture the fact that Mr. Modi has gone here and spoken what we call as the gospel truth. You know, you can't say that there will be no crimes against women and treat it as nothing but a motherhood statement. I think it's the responsibility of the state to protect women and girls in our country. Look, I think the haunting image that I think I will have in my mind, not just in 2019 but forever, is going to be the brutalization of young vulnerable girls who went to a government shelter for protection in Bihar. Where you have a BJP and a JDU government, you have a leader in Mr. Modi's cabinet who's accused of rape, alleged rape. I'm going to use the word alleged because he's not convicted yet. You know, you need to really kind of send a message. I think the worst thing we have done, and I think the political system has failed, and therefore as an opposition, I have a right to question Mr. Pandey and his party and Mr. Modi.
Of course.
Mr. Modi may be the Prime Minister, but he's not, you know, what I call as necessarily somebody who's above the law. I mean, he has a job. He had a job to protect every woman in this country. I think the BJP has failed. The language used, the misogynistic, you know, tones, always the contemptuous reference to the,
but why
I think,
blame
to
the Prime
50%
Minister
of
today?
India's population.
But why
is,
blame
I
the
think,
Prime
a telling
Minister?
commentary
But why
between
blame
what
the
you
Prime
say and
Minister
what you
today?
do.
But why blame the Prime Minister today for that? The Prime Minister comes from the ramparts of the Red Fort and he sets out an agenda. How's the Prime Minister responsible for this, Sanjay? Because there is a reason why I'm asking this question.
Bhupendra,
Go ahead and
can
I'll
I tell you,
why.
your party is in government in Bihar. Your party is in government in Bihar, and I'll give you another example linked to Jharkhand, where Jayant Sinha garlands convicted killers of a victim of lynching. The Prime Minister says nothing. I mean, these are, I think, manifestations
Do we
of
expect
a
the
Prime Minister who conveniently looks the other way around when he's caught on the
last
wrong
night
foot.
on Viewpoint, Sumit,
And that's
this is
not the way to
exactly.
be.
Sumit, last night on Viewpoint, I was trying to decipher some of the surveys which have been done by some media houses, which throw a rather interesting picture. And I think Sanjay Jha's point can be rebutted using that picture. That the BJP in states, perhaps maybe getting a good run for its money by the opposition parties, by the Congress in the election-bound states. But when it comes to Lok Sabha elections, when it comes to general elections, the story is completely different. Is that why Narendra Modi never speaks about any specifics? He speaks about the big picture. He's told us what he thinks is his vision of India, and people seem